Back here on CBS Sports HQ Spotlight, a huge weekend of football. We've got Black Friday matchup between Texas A&M and Texas at DKR. Marcel Reed and Arch Manning, both with 31 combined touchdowns this season. Second in the SEC, only to Diego Pavia. A&M a 2.5-point road favorite as they look to clinch their spot in the SEC championship game. Chip Patterson and Shehan Jeyarajah joining us here. Chip, Arch coming off a career game, threw for nearly 400 yards, had 6 total touchdowns. What kind of a spot do you think he is right now compared to maybe the early weeks of the season when we were all over him?
Confidence has got to be at an all-time high. You saw it not just with the statistical success, but you saw it with, just some of the celebratory attitude that whole offense got. I mean, Arkansas can be the antidote to your offensive confidence issues because they allow a lot to pretty much everybody. So I think in that sense, it was a good sign. But, definitely from the vibes department here, just the fact that we got to see Arch Manning not just, go and make SEC history, Arch Manning, SEC history, Arch Manning 6 touchdowns, say it for the SEO, but for Arch Manning to be out there celebrating with his teammates after the touchdowns. They're doing their handshakes, they're doing their dances, Spider-Man pointing meme with the offensive linemen. It's what you want to have going up against a Texas A&M defense that you do not want to be lacking in your confidence in your decision making. It is a Texas A&M defense that can be had, but they will also make you pay for mistakes. And so I think that for his headspace, in addition to the statistical excellence, it was a great performance against the Hogs.
And Shehan, why is he your impact player to watch in this game for Texas?
Yeah, well, I hate picking quarterbacks usually in this spot, but I think that he is going to be absolutely pivotal in this game. And the reason that I say that is Texas A&M has a lot of avenues to give Texas offense issues. They're really good in the secondary. They obviously have one of the best pass rushers in the country, led by Cassius Howell at defensive end. Their linebacking core is really, really good. And this is a defense that, one, I think will have a lot to try to confuse Arch Manning, and two, will really try to get under his skin with some of the pressures that they send. So this is a game where Arch has to be at his best. He has to make good decisions. He has to stay composed under pressure. He has to make the right call, even when they're checkdowns, even when they're quick reads, and he has to stay clean from a mechanical perspective. That has been an issue for him, at least it was through the first half of the year. He's really cleaned things up these past couple of weeks, but this is much more like a Georgia defense that you're going to be playing than an Arkansas one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with junior running back Contravion Wisner as my player to watch. This is a player who can be an extension of the pass game. His ability to not just make plays within the script, within the play call, running between the tackles, but also in the screen game and being able to take those little dump-offs and be able to take off and run. I do think that because of how strong Texas A&M is in terms of getting after the passer, that against this Texas offensive line, Arch is going to have to run for his life. He's going to have to be a little bit of a check down Charlie, but that's where he's got to rely on his running back to get a little yards after the catch, and I think that he's a good candidate to do that.
And Chip, on the other side of the ball, Marcel Reed. There have been times this season where defenses have really pressed him. Just a couple of weeks ago, threw 2 picks against South Carolina. He was sacked a couple of times earlier in the year against Auburn. They sacked him 4 times and were in that game all the way until the end. How does the defense disrupt him in this game?
It's got to be by winning those early downs, forcing those obvious passing situations, and keeping Texas A&M from the kind of third and manageables that have allowed them to be so successful. One of the things I love about Texas A&M, not just in this game, but as a national title contender, is the versatility. And it is Marcel Reed's ability to beat you multiple ways. They can beat you with the ground game. He can still take advantage of short passes that go for long yards and be able to beat you over the top with the deep passing game. So when you limit their ability to be versatile, I think that that's where you get Texas A&M in the most vulnerable places. So that's got to be making sure you get Marcel Reed off his mark, obvious passing situations, allow for some of those freak athletes, yes, which this Texas defense does still have, allow some of them loose. And so if you win those early downs, you force the long third down scenarios, Texas's defense might be able to live up to the talent that's on the field.
Shehan, how on the other side can Texas A&M do just that and establish that ground game and get Marcel Reed into second and third and shorts?
Well, I think that one of the greatest inefficiencies in college football right now is having a quarterback who can truly be a dual threat, a runner and a passer. And I think that Texas A&M has that in Marcel Reed, somebody who obviously in some key moments has really taken off and made big plays, but also behind this offensive line that's been really good, especially in the second half of the year. When I look at Texas A&M, they've been dealing with injuries at the running back position, but unlike Texas, who's had the same thing, they've just kept churning guys out there. I really like Ruben Owens coming in off the bench, a former blue chip recruit who's come in and done some nice stuff. They've got some freshmen coming off the bench, putting up big yardage as well. I think the fact that Texas A&M is able to go to maybe 3 or 4 different players with handoffs, it just creates a different kind of challenge, I think, when you're going against the Texas defense that's been a little bit inconsistent, especially in the second half of the year. And really, more than anything else, you want this running game to be able to set up the passing game. You have favorable matchups out there, create them with your running game.
Yeah, is one of those matchups Concepcion at the wide receiver position? Because I know he is your impact player to watch for A&M.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to what Chip said about versatility. This is an offense that loves being versatile, and Casey Concepcion is really the guy who makes that happen. They've got another great receiver in Mario Craver, who, of course, is a big-time talent, somebody who's going to contend for All-America status. But Concepcion is one of those guys who, when you get a cornerback 2 on him or switch him onto a safety even, he just makes magic happen. I don't just mean that in the receiving game. I mean that in the screen game. I mean that in the toss game. I mean that in the return game as well. He has been kind of that X factor that really has changed games with his ability to generate big plays. And especially for Texas, I really like their top cornerback, Malik Muhammad. They've had a rotating door at cornerback 2 and at nickel so far this year. So I think that when you have a player like Concepcion, if you can motion him into favorable matchups, you can create big time opportunities downfield.
Sometimes week 14 is about just relishing what has been awesome about a college football season, and dadgummit, Cassius Howell has been awesome. All right, he has been so much more than advertised. He is not just an impact player for Texas A&M. He is one of the best pass rushers, if not the best pass rusher in the whole country. So the fact that we get to watch number 9 tee off against Arch Manning and the rest of this Texas offense, an offensive line that we know he should absolutely dominate. I mean, he already, before the first snap is taken, had an impact on this game in terms of the amount of time that Steve Sarkisian and the rest of this staff have to think about ways that they're going to try to block number 9. I'm just so fired up to watch this. And again, Chris, you're going to get so sick of me saying this message. This is week 14. We should soak in everything that's awesome about the last regular season weekend. And Cassius Howell is one of those stars for me in this football season.
It's so great that we get this on Friday night as well. It's pretty close to a toss-up in Vegas with Texas A&M favored by 2.5 points on the road. Shehan, who do you like to win it?
So this is a game where matchup-wise, I really like Texas A&M, but throw out the matchups, throw out the records. This is a mental game for Texas A&M. You saw them go down 30-3 against South Carolina and have the mental resiliency to fight back. You saw them go down on the road at Notre Dame, throw a fourth-quarter touchdown to win the game. That's what Texas A&M shows up with in Austin. They exercise some of their demons. They get to 12-0 for the first time since 1992, and they book their ticket to the college football playoff.
Let's do one of those choose your own adventures where I say the exact same thing, but then take you in a different direction. This is a mental game for Texas A&M, and that's why I think Texas is going to be able to get it done, because it's really hard to go undefeated in college football, and it's really hard to be able to accomplish all of these huge goals. And when it's right there, and all you have to do is beat your rival, who, oh, by the way, has their own backs against the wall, playing for everything mentality. I'm gonna say Texas gets it done and leaves us with a real head scratcher in terms of trying to figure out the postseason picture after that.
Where do you think that goes? Does Texas get in with a win here, Chip?
Oh, it depends all on what's happening elsewhere. But the fact that we have the potential to go into Saturday with a 9-3 Texas, it's too tasty, Chris. The debates would just go on forever. I'm here for it.
They would put some pressure on some other teams there, that's for sure. Chip going with the Longhorns, Shehan going with Texas A&M to win what should be a really fun one on Friday night. It's back, finally. We saw for the first time last year, first time since 2011, Texas versus A&M. Texas won by 10. We'll see what happens, and they'll recap it on the Cover 3 pod.